Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Seth Manfield and we're going to be playing some Blue-White Super Friends on MTG Arena today. So this deck, it was first created by Zach Elsick, I believe. And it's got a ton of different Planeswalkers in it. It's super fun. I've never really played any deck quite like this one before. But the synergy is pretty cool, and it doesn't have many creatures in it. There's 4 Fibblethip the Lost, 3 Mox Ambers, which go well with your legendary creature and your Planeswalkers being able to produce additional mana. And then we just get into the walkers, like 4 copies of Narset, 4 copies of Teferi. We've seen how great these cards can be against control decks, against Nexus decks. Dove in Hand of Control is a card we haven't seen a lot of, but in this deck, it actually can do a good amount of work. Teo, Saheeli, Kazmina, Tezzeret, Artificer Master. Of course, we've also got Big Teferi. We are a blue-white Planeswalker deck. After all, wouldn't be the same without Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, Ugin the Ineffable, and then we actually do need some cards that can control our opponent's creatures. So we've got some 4 copies of Cleansing Nova, and then 1 Time Wipe. So those are the cards that if the opponent tries to go wide with lots of creatures, this is how we punish them. We can get multiple creatures with 1 card. And so, yeah, the deck is full of Planeswalkers, but the lands also matter. So it is straight blue-white. So we've got some typical lands, but we've also got these non-basics that are really interesting. Interplanar Beacon. So this is a way of gaining life when we're casting our Planeswalkers, which is really, really important against the aggressive matchups, and it can also fix our mana. We've got Mobilized District. So the District land is super important as well. Just having a few Planeswalkers in play makes the activation cost much less, and sometimes it's a win condition. Sometimes it pressures opposing Planeswalkers. It blocks. Like this, the Mobilized District comes up a fair amount. 1 card's Bastion, and we've also got 1 copy of Blast Zone. So that's it for the main deck. The sideboard, some Baffling Ends and Prison Realms to kind of control creatures and other Planeswalkers. Some counter spells, Sorcerer Spyglass for cards like Ascanta, Tameo, and then some additional Planeswalkers. If we want to add more of these, we can. So this is the deck. It's pretty interesting to play. I also think it's just good. So I'm going to hopefully showcase that for you all today. I'm going to go ahead and jump into some traditional ranked play with the deck. And there's been a few different versions of this deck that have been seeing play. Not just the one I'm playing, but a couple different variants. I've been impressed with it so far. And it's kind of as close to a prison deck as you're going to get in Standard. This is a close hand. We don't have any of our Planeswalkers, which is weird, but our mana is good and our Cleansing Novas can be good depending on the matchup. I'm going to try keeping it. Just going to play the Interplanar Beacon. Alright, so it is mono red. The beacon certainly can be quite relevant here in the matchup. Although we just drew a treasure map, so we have the option of Dovin or map. I think I'm just going to play the map because we do have Cleansing Nova for turn 5, and this can allow, like, flipping treasure map is pretty nice. I actually am just going to top that Dovin because it's pretty likely our first Dovin just dies. So I'm going to play one of the Dovins here. And lock down the Chain Whirler. So we're just going to use it for some damage prevention, so we don't just get run over super hard. And our opponent had the option there of attacking us, but went... So they did do that rather than attacking the Dovin. Chandra is quite nice. I mean, Pyromancer into Chain Whirler into Chandra is essentially exactly what the mono red deck wants to be doing. Keep that Mox Amber. It's going to give us an additional mana here so that we can Cleansing Nova and then still be able to activate our treasure map. So we're going to get to flip our map. Now, in terms of answering this Chandra, we are looking for a card like Big Teferi just to bounce it would be pretty good. We don't really want to be attacking it with District, but it is an option. See, that Light Up the Stage cost it 4 mana because of the Dovin. I think Narset is worth leaving on top. So I'm just going to cast Narset here. Time Wipe or Treasure Map. Not really the cards we wanted to see. I guess I'll take the Time Wipe. Not sure on that. Feels like we may need to start pressuring the Chandra, even though it's pretty bad if we do that. I can also playing Teo is reasonable here because it actually gives ourselves hexproof, so our opponent has to start trying to get rid of the Planeswalkers. I guess I'm gonna play Teo.
Finally, a chance. I'll block them off.
Not sure if I'm supposed to minus Dovin there, but we'll do that. Should be an interesting turn. Like, our opponent has to choose which of these Planeswalkers they care about.
Clearly, the shortcomings here were mine.
Going after Dovin, but now we can play the other Dovin we have in hand. The way our opponent wins this game is with the Chandra Fire Artisan. which is going to be tough to beat.
Serve better next time.
Alright, I'm going to start by minusing Narset.
Meditate and prepare.
Not really what we were looking for. So I guess the question is, do we just try to play through this Chandra getting minused? And I'm not sure how much of a choice we actually have. Like, we could start attacking it with Mobilized District. But we just don't have... We don't really have the resources. I think I'm going to go to Fairy. I'm going to bounce the Steamkin. Not sure about this line.
I've got it.
We want to make sure that we keep our district around.
They're statistically likely to fail.
So we'll see if our opponent wants to let this through, but they're not going to. So they're going to chump with the Lava Runner. The Chandra can now minus. So I'm not really sure what the reasoning for playing the Steamkin before minusing Chandra was. Like, our opponent can't actually play a Lightning Strike here. Okay. But now they can. They can now start to go off a little bit with the Steamkins.
Hit.
They're trying to take Dovin out, which makes sense. I think we can still win this game. It's a very weird game.
Slip up is rare.
And I think our opponent may be realizing this has been a tricky turn because it's more difficult to play with. You know, Dovin makes these Lightning Strikes much, much worse. But now that they've taken Dovin out, they may not have a way to capitalize on, getting this Chandra Fire Artisan in play. Our opponent would need... Okay, so they have a Shock, which now is going to grow the Steamkins again. So maybe they have just enough mana to do everything. Looks like they do. Pretty unfortunate. So they can make 3 more mana. Get the Chandra out. Alright, so yeah, that was pretty rough. So the question is how to proceed from here. As I mentioned earlier, I don't love attacking Chandra. Like, we're at a pretty low life total. So it doesn't do us that much to attack the Chandra.
Here we go.
We could sweep the board. That's definitely an option. It's probably right to just do that. And then play Narset. Could have done it the other way, technically. I think Narset is better than Kasmina here.
I know 88 ways to defeat. Keep an open mind.
Still haven't found any big Teferis, which are the best way to answer the Chandra for a little while. Our opponent's still just trying to go face with their burn, which does make sense at this point. We would love another Interplanar beacon to give us more life as well.
Fury will only lead you astray.
One play I can make is to just activate the Karn's Bastion. I think we want to play Kasmina to start this turn. I doubt we're activating the treasure map, so maybe it's fine to tap the treasure cove. That's fine. I'm just gonna play Kasmina.
Heed my instruction and prepare for war. Every day is a new lesson.
We already have a Time Reveler, so I don't think having that is super important. I think I'm just going to activate the Karn's Bastion now. And cash Narset in. Okay, we finally found Big Teferi.
I've got time.
Let's light it up.
Been a pretty crazy game. Normally mono red games are not quite as grindy as this. So we do want to Teferi minus on the Chandra for sure. And I guess we have 5 more mana left over after doing that.
Time is much more malleable than people think.
I think I'm actually just going to minus Kasmina first.
Are the future.
Wow. Our opponent's just going to concede there. I think we I think we were at the point where we were going to stabilize. The deck is pretty tough. Like, I did take my time on some of those decisions because they weren't easy to make. We're going to board in 2 Teos, Baffling End. I think we want... Prison Realm is pretty good against Chandra. I think it's better than Spyglass in the matchup. And we can cut the maps, even though the maps were good in that game. I think after sideboard the plans change a bit. This isn't the matchup where Teferi is at its best. Like, especially on the draw, just bouncing something is not necessarily going to be super relevant. I actually like 2 Teferi Hero of Dominaria in this matchup as the number. You don't want to go overboard on your 5s. Yeah, this is okay. We'll see if we get run over or not. So we can play these beacons out. Which will give us a nice little life boost. So definitely I'm just going to play Dovin and minus on the Pyromancer. There's really not much else that can be done in this spot. We'll see if our opponent tries to kill the Dovin or just continues to attack face. It looks like they are just going face. Kind of a bold decision. Could pay off. Not sure if I should minus on Pyromancer or minus on Steamkin. It's pretty unlikely our opponent plays 2 creatures pre-combat, so I think just minusing on Pyromancer is fine. I guess they could burn the Dovin. But they should... Now our opponent should probably be thinking about the fact that we likely have a sweeper, which we do. Just gonna time wipe. There's small possibility that Cleansing Nova is worth keeping for the destroy artifacts and enchantments part of it. So now we're in a pretty decent spot because we can just start casting Planeswalkers, which is going to allow us to be gaining 2 life each time we do it. And our opponent realizes it, and they're actually just going to go ahead and concede that. Sweet. Yeah, mono red is not always the easiest matchup. That game 1 though was pretty crazy. Chandra The Chandra -7. I don't think I've actually won a game after that previously. But this deck, having the amount of Planeswalkers that it does have the capability. It has that capability. Because Planeswalkers are just such grindy cards that they give you a pretty big advantage in the late game. And keep this, seems reasonable. Can't ask for too much more. Like, the mana on the surface looks good, although we don't have any of our, like, sweet lands. Like our beacon or our district. So, we'll see. Like, against mono red, we saw how great the incidental life gain can be from the Interplanar beacon. Although in this matchup, if we're playing against control, probably the district is the one we want to have. So that's a nice draw. I'm not going to play it, though, because like if I play the district, our opponent probably realizes what deck we're on. I guess I'll play it this turn.
You have been analyzed and found wanting.
So there wasn't anything they could do about the Dovin. And now our opponent also cannot absorb because of Dovin costing those spells an additional mana. So I'm just going to play Teferi.
No time for a break.
And it forces our opponent into a situation where they almost need to have a contempt. Or else we get to untap with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Seems pretty good here.
Let's skip to the good part.
I'm going to drop Narset. Could get countered. But that's fine because we just have another one. I take this to Healy, I think. Yeah, that was just kind of the draw we wanted for the matchup. And our opponent didn't have the interaction that they needed early on. Although after board, things definitely get more tricky. We don't want Teo here. But I do think Prison Realm is kind of okay. Because it answers Planeswalkers and Thief of Sanity. Thief can be pretty good against you. And take out an Amber, a couple Dovins at least, and then the Sweepers. Sorcerer's Spyglass is definitely an interesting card in this matchup. Because it answers Iskanta, but you can actually sometimes play through an Iskanta. And then, like, you don't want to be naming Teferi, Hero of Dominaria with it necessarily, because we have our own. So, yeah, the Spyglass kind of is a weird one here. I'm just going to go with this. Yeah, pretty easy keep. The question is where we want to start. I think it's just with Fibblethip. Because we can't actually activate the map this turn. Does mean our opponent can start playing counterspells, but it looks like they have that Thief of Sanity that we were worried about. So that's unfortunate here. I think I'm just gonna play Narset though.
My prowess is just the trick for this.
Yeah, this Prison Realm is likely going to be a turn too late, because like now our opponent can just have a counterspell. Interesting to see them attack Narset. It's kind of surprising. Just gonna play the Prison Realm. See if it gets countered. I think attacking Narset there is probably wrong. But I don't know what's in our opponent's hand exactly. Like, we can still hopefully land a Teferi. Unless they have another counter. Which, post-board, the Esper decks do tend to have Dovin's Veto and
Such violence is upsetting.
Absorbs. Okay, that does make some sense because they wanted to be able to unlock their own Teferi to be able to draw some additional cards with it. So I guess I understand why they made the choice that they did. I think we just have to minus on Thief.
Right on schedule.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Reverse.
And just ping the Teferi for a point.
I won't let you win. Let's skip to the good part. I'm known for my excellent timing.
Time Reveler is pretty good against us post-board because it stops our counterspells. And we do have some in our deck. But I think it's still better against our opponent than against us.
Here goes nothing.
Our opponent might be trying to Thought Erasure on our turn. I think that's what's going on. Now we draw a Disdainful Stroke. Still kind of a close game. I'm gonna take Teferi Hero of Dominaria. Makes sense.
Keep up the pace.
Ooh, Tezzeret. That's a fairly sweet draw. Question is, do we cast it? I like the idea of casting it. I think I'm just gonna draw a card.
Cold logic will always win. I'm too old for this.
Focused and disciplined. In
Okay, yeah, Narset is super good here. It's gonna stop us from being able to draw all the cards we want to be drawing. We can start making Thopters.
You need to take a time out.
So they're minusing Teferi down to 1.
Meditate and prepare.
But they found another Teferi.
I'll protect you.
Alright, well, our opponent's kind of winning this Planeswalker battle at the moment. We can still Narset through an opposing Narset.
There are so many you must keep an open mind.
I guess we just take our Tezzeret again. And then we pretty much just have to bounce the Thief, even though we're not
This isn't a fight.
drawing a card off of it.
Might be a bad idea.
Also not drawing a card off the Teferi
We need
Plus.
to move quickly.
Just gonna take out our opponent's Teferi. I know they have another one, but it at least makes them have to cast it.
Defeat.
Although Teferi is definitely much worse once we have a Narset in play. They're probably just going to take the Tezzeret. But I just generally like taking a Planeswalker off the board if we have the opportunity to. And we did have that opportunity just now with that attack. Now, the biggest issue is this Thief of Sanity can come back down.
Trust me, I have a plan.
Put thoughtfulness before.
Okay, that's actually a good play. Our opponent's minusing Teferi. And then minusing Narset. So, like, the Fibblethip is much worse when our opponent has a Narset in play.
I really should have seen that coming.
So we just don't have the amount of options we'd like to have in this spot. I think... Well, yeah, we just have to minus Narset, right?
Hone your prowess.
There unfortunately is not a great grab here. I'm just going to take Teferi Time Raveler. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to play Like, playing the Fibblethip is just a 1/1. And that Kasmina is also not very good here. Because we can't actually draw a card off of it.
I will not be unprepared.
But making the 2/2 is relevant. I guess I'll just make the 2/2.
My students
It does mean we have to discard, which is pretty bad. Just gonna pitch the Fibblethip. It's possible that by having the Disdainful Stroke, our opponent like needs the Teferi Time Raveler in play, but I could see wanting to pitch that as well. It's pretty unfortunate that we don't have a District this game, because if we had District, we could start pressuring the opposing Planeswalkers there. So by having the Stroke, it incentivizes our opponent not to just minus the Time Raveler.
I won't hide from the world any longer.
I guess, could I have actually stroked that? Is that how that works? I have to learn up on how Teferi versus Teferi works. Apologies.
Let's take it back. I'll protect you.
I guess I should have put the upkeep stop on, but it's okay. We drew Prison Realm. Which isn't a bad draw.
I'm making this up as I go.
The problem is that our opponent can just bounce the Prison Realm with the Time Raveler. So maybe I just hit the Teferi Time Raveler because it can bounce our realm. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try doing that.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
I guess I'm just gonna make another guy and pitch
focus on what matters.
pitch the Time Raveler to it. Because just having the additional 2/2 in play is pretty important off the Kasmina. And I'll set the upkeep stop this time.
No time for a break.
Because I think we just want to flip our map. I'm going to keep the district. So I guess I'm going to offer this trade. See if our opponent takes it or not.
We will meet again.
They did not. So they're trying to free up their stuff here. I can minus the Time Raveler, but it would allow our opponent to have the Dovin's Veto available, which is the issue with doing that. Guess I'm just gonna plus.
This might be a bad idea.
Not sure about that play though. But it does stop their counter spells to have the Teferi Time Raveler. But if our opponent hits us with Thief, it's pretty annoying. But it looks like they're just going after
Don't make another move.
the Teferi. Unfortunately, our draws here. Well, okay. Here's what we have to do. We have to kill Narset. Which will allow us to start drawing additional cards.
You are a mighty warrior. I concede.
Okay. I'm just gonna tick to Teferi up again.
That's more like it.
You know what would be an insane draw here would be Karn's Bastion. That would allow us to proliferate onto all of this stuff. So our opponent's using a bunch of Thief of Sanity attacks to get rid of our Teferi. We'll see how that works out for them. Looks like it's not going to work out particularly well for them.
Let's try this.
Because we drew Ugin. Now I'm forgetting which... Which district I just played. So we can actually just get rid of this thief. And yeah, our opponent's just going to concede. Sorry, I'm not saying I'm like the most proficient player with the deck. So I'm sure if you're watching this right now, you may have seen some other plays I could have made, and I'm still learning with it. Like, the deck is not easy to play. There's a lot going on with it. And that's what makes it so cool, right? Like, so, yeah. It's a very different form of Magic. And I enjoy it. 6 lands to Teferi. Can we keep? I think this is actually close. I'm going to keep. 6 lands is a lot of lands, don't get me wrong, but we also have a district. I think it's pretty close. I know a lot of players would mulligan this, and I wouldn't say you're wrong for mulliganing it. Against Mono Red again. Mono Red is very popular right now. Obviously the hand looks way worse, having just drawn 2 consecutive lands. So it's easy to be results oriented, but hey, maybe our opponent doesn't have much going on. We'll see. I think we just have to play this now as like a speed bump.
My creations are things of beauty.
See if our opponent kills Saheeli.
another day.
It's not great whatever we do here. I guess I'm just gonna -3
I'm not ready for this.
our Teferi Hero of Dominaria. Our opponent's playing, it looks like a bigger version of Mono Red.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
Oh, it's you burning.
Let's slow this down. Here we go.
It's hard to be a genius surrounded
We're doing
by
what we can.
boxes are made
We're
to
doing what we
hold
can with the cards we have. The only thing I could have done differently would have been mulligan this hand.
This is just gonna be bad.
Chain Whirler is quite good against us.
perfect. Even me.
Alright. Something.
Mind and body should be kind of just the trick for this.
Playing through Chandra, though.
No problem fire can't solve.
Oh, our opponent's actually playing a Gruul deck. That's kind of surprising. But also worrisome, because it means they can board in cards like Cindervines post-board. But it looks like they're a bit mana screwed. Not sure if we'll be able to capitalize on that or not.
Prepare.
Doesn't appear that we'll be able to. Maybe we can. Let's see. I think we may want to try to use our districts to pressure this Chandra. The issue is that if we do that, we're going to take a bunch of damage.
I am master of machines.
Just going to draw a card here.
You're still one step behind.
So what we can do is we can activate the districts and then
We're studying contrasts. I'm
stop
excellent
the
at war,
Phoenix.
well, not.
Unfortunately, this Chandra is going to take damage. Like, the Chandra taking damage is not great for us either. So they just get to deal a bunch of damage to either us or a Planeswalker. So they can kill off something. Or just go face with this.
This outcome surprises even
Just gonna
me.
kill Dovin.
This is just gonna be bad for you.
Like, I think that was right. I mean, we could have let our opponent pop the Chandra, but that is... I mean, they're dealing 7 damage to start off the minus. Phoenixes are pretty annoying in this spot. Alright, I'm gonna play Kasmina.
Join my cause.
I think we actually need this Karn's Bastion. I'm just gonna cash in the Narset now.
Keep an open mind.
I made you a gift.
And make a Thopter.
What's that smell? Oh, it's you burning.
The beacon allows us to gain a little bit of life. Unclear how relevant that's going to be. Finally, our opponent found another land. Not sure why they're taking out the 2/2 rather than the flyer with the shock. So they're just electing to kill Kasmina, essentially, by making that attack.
It is I who has learned a lesson.
I look forward to seeing your mistakes.
I guess I'm just gonna try to get rid of Chandra.
This was a waste of
So they're just gonna let Chandra die. If they kill the Dovin, we can just play another one. They might do that, though. No, they're just going face.
I'm well equipped to deal with nuisances like you.
Silent,
Alright.
obedient perfection.
Don't think we could have done much more for that turn. They have another Chain Whirler. They get rid of our Thopters, which is super bad for us. If they attack with the Growth Chamber Guardian, we kind of have to use the District, I think. So I'm just gonna double block. Growth Chamber Guardian and chump the Phoenix, I think. Yeah, we're gonna try that. Beacon is good. I think we just have to draw a card now off the Tezzeret. We need more gas is the issue.
Of course.
That's gas. All right. Well, we're playing it. That's for sure. I guess just uptick, because, like, getting rid of... Destroying a Phoenix doesn't really do anything.
Secrets manifest before you.
I kind of want to just play the other Dovin from our hands. Not sure if it's right.
My acute awareness of your imperfections is maddening.
No, I'm just gonna pass. We could die, I guess, this turn, but it's a risk. Willing to take it. And it also allows us to have the Karn's Bastion up. I guess the fact that we have a Dovin under here should probably make me want to play this Dovin more. We can also just activate the District. Although it does cost us a mana to do it. Alright, pretty conservative attack. So I'm gonna activate Karn's Bastion. Oh. There we go. Alright, fourth Planeswalker incoming. I'm just gonna return one of the Phoenixes. Not sure if we're supposed to minus the Ugin or not. I am going to draw a card here with Tezzeret.
Brilliance comes easily to me.
That makes me want to minus Ugin. Which one do we get rid of? Probably just the War Boss.
I can create or destroy. I'm well equipped to deal with nuisances like you.
I guess I can just activate the Karn's Bastion right now, since I'm going to do it anyways. I always mess up with that because I think that it's submitting 0 to start, but it's actually just trying to proliferate on everything. So our opponent's gonna concede that. I didn't think we were gonna win that game, to be honest with you, but we did. So worked out. Quite the grindy game of Magic. So our opponent's playing Gruul. Teo is kind of worse against Gruul because their creatures are so large. So I don't think Teo is where we want to go. I'm going to take out the maps as well. Board in Baffling Ends and Prison Realms. Take out some of the Time Ravelers. Saheeli can, I think, go. Didn't mean to take an Ugin out. Yeah, like Time Ravelers, it's okay against cards like Phoenix, but it's not what you are really looking for either. Go down to only one Kasmina. Don't think we want any of the counter spells. Seems reasonable. I generally just keep the Fibblethrips in the deck, but sometimes against Chain Whirler, it could be right to board them out. Interesting that our opponent has Crawl Harpooner in their deck. I wonder if that was a sideboard card or if they just had it for game one, but just didn't. I don't know. Yeah, Warboss is good. I guess we can just block. It's not great though. I'm gonna take it. Dovin can help just kind of like pad our life total a little bit. Like it's probably gonna die, but we have to survive until we get our Cleansing Nova online. So I'm just gonna play it out there. Probably they're gonna attack it now. Okay. Yeah, that was why I maybe should have blocked last turn with the Fibblethip. Although it's also a reason why we shouldn't have 2 on the board at the same time. Chain Whirler is real good.
These results are an anomaly, not to be repeated.
Not much to do here. Just gonna block the biggest thing I can. Pretty strong follow-up. I assume this is just too slow.
Sit back and watch it burn.
Yeah, like we can Teferi minus on something, but then we're just dead. So, yeah, Warboss is pretty solid. I think our opponent was smart to bring that card in after sideboard. On the play, going to Saheeli's I think makes sense. Cut Fibblethip. Maybe just cutting 2 Fibbletips is fine. Like, I keep them in against mono red because they have 1 toughness creatures that, like, Viashino Pyromancer and stuff. But against Gruul, they're not as good. Yeah, these are the types of hands that I've been keeping. So I'm just gonna stay with that, but nothing amazing.
Anyone would be so foolish.
So we're not under... We're gonna have time to do what we want to do. The problem is we just don't have that much gas in our hand. I guess I'm just gonna play out the Blast Zone.
The fault is not in our stars, but in ourselves.
Like, we can use the Blast Zone or the Cleansing Nova here on the Growth Chamber Guardians.
Nobody's perfect. Even
And our opponent's mana screwed. So I guess I just use the Blast Zone. Although they could just play land Legion Warboss, but if I just pass and they draw a green source, it's pretty awkward because then they can activate a Growth Chamber Guardian. Maybe that doesn't actually matter though. Like if they play Warboss, I'd rather just have the Cleansing Nova in my hand. I'm just gonna pass, see what happens here. If our opponent just attacks, we just pop the Blast Zone. not a bad draw step. Just gonna play Teferi and plus let the Dovin die if our opponent wants to kill that. I guess I should just minus Dovin on Daredevil, because they can, rather than giving them the option of what to attack. But I think just having Teferi early in games tends to be strong. Alright, so they had the War Boss kind of as expected. So, just gonna Cleansing Nova this board. Could be another War Boss. Spellbreaker. It sucks that we can't activate the District right now. We would need one more mana. I mean, we could. It would be tap though. So yeah, we can't block with it.
No more games. Hurry.
Those who cannot proceed with thoughtfulness before action.
I'm gonna grab Dovin actually. I think that's better than balancing something because we have the Wrath.
Few things can withstand my careful scrutiny.
Like, we want our opponent to go wide when we have a sweeper.
Nobody's perfect.
Wait a moment.
Not even me.
Probably just gonna cash in the Narset.
We need to move quickly.
Possibly can just find another one.
Hone your prowess.
Ugin seems pretty good. I think we should probably just play Ugin. Actually, that may have been the wrong one to target. Not sure. There's pros and cons to targeting the Chain Whirler or the Spellbreaker, depending on how things play out. Like, we might want to block with the District, or we might just want to block with the Spirit. Probably more likely we want to block with the Spirit. Because the District has quite a bit of value just being in play. But I think we're at the point where we're spiraling, and once we start getting going like this, it's really tough for our opponent to come back.
Nobody's perfect. Even me.
So now that our opponent has 3 creatures in play, I think it's about that time to Cleansing Nova. Which we've kind of just been setting up. Can also cast Kasmina.
Every day is a new lesson.
Pretty insane board. I wouldn't be surprised to see a scoop incoming.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
And there it is. Was waiting for it, and it came. So one a few in a row, which gets me out of gold. I'm gonna play one more match here. The matches are super grindy, so they can take a while, but they're also really fun. Like, establishing control with this deck is so nice when you're actually able to do it. Seems good. I'll put the stop on the upkeep in case we want to activate the map. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Need lands. Maybe I'm supposed to just play the Mox in case our opponent like thought erasures it. I guess I could have upkeep stopped again. This Narset isn't actually that bad of a draw though. It's kind of what we want if we scry into a land here, which hopefully we do. Dovin, no. So we'd actually have rather drawn Narset than Dovin. I'm just gonna pitch a Cleansing Nova. Take the draw. Okay. So here we can play Dovin, minus on Bolas, play Mox, and then I think we just flip this now, just to make sure it flips. Don't know if we want to Teferi or not. I think still prioritizing land drops is better. Yeah, that card is very strong against us. That's part of the reason for the Spyglasses in the sideboard. Nicole Bolas, the Dragon God, is just really good. I guess I'm gonna get rid of a treasure here.
I outsmarted you eons ago.
Teferi is not bad. Just cast that minus on Bolas. I think that's probably the right play.
I know my responsibility. Not so fast.
When pursuing creativity, defy convention.
Ooh. That's pretty good.
Rise and shine.
Looks like we're gonna have to sweep this board up.
Keep up the pace.
District is actually not bad. I can also play Narset this turn. I probably do that. play Narset and sweep.
If you wish to surrender now,
Because then
I understand.
that stops the Liliana triggers, which is super big game. I mean, no, it does. It stops one of the triggers, one of the draws, I guess.
I have just
That's what I
accepted
should say.
this.
Grab another Narset.
Waste not, want not. Smelly, but effective.
Unfortunately, Nicole Bolas is still real good. It's gonna come down here.
Not once again.
Interesting that our opponent's just ticking up. I guess I'm gonna exile the Dovin.
You have no weakness I cannot exploit.
Let's skip to the good part.
I think we may... We're definitely minusing Narset.
Meditate and
Yeah, it's a
prepare.
Fairy Time Reveler is good. Because we can play that, bounce, and then activate District. I think that's better than just playing Tezzeret.
I'm known for my excellent timing. I've got time.
Now I guess we could play Tezzeret, right? So I'm going to activate District. Attack. I guess I maybe should have attacked Liliana.
Of power.
Although I'm kind of relying on Teferi to minus possibly on Lily. So we can make a mana off Mox. Play this Mox. I think we just make a
We're foolish to
creature. The flyer seems like it could be relevant.
Builds with ease.
So we now have 5 Planeswalkers in play, but our opponent has 6 cards in their hand.
Good help is easy to find in war.
So I assume our opponent just continues to tick up with the Gobolos? No, they're gonna make a zombie. I mean, they are ticking up, but they're... Yeah, that makes sense. So we do have to pitch something to this Bolus. I'm just gonna discard the island. It's fine. We can time wipe and then attack. So yeah, I think we're actually okay here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time wipe. Our opponent's going to draw only one card off of that. Although I think we're minusing Teferi on Lily no matter what here. So maybe I should do that first, and then we can kill the... Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna minus here.
I'm not ready for this quite yet.
And then sweep the board. Oh, I don't know what happened. I didn't mean to go into full control there. So we sweep. Then we get to activate our district. And our opponent's just going to concede at this point. Whew, some of these games, they can be exhausting, I will tell you that. There's so many things going on, for real. Alright, post board. Strokes are good because they counter Bolus, they counter Planeswalkers, negate, Prison Realm. I think we want our other Teferi. Spyglass isn't... Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cards we can potentially board in. A lot of cards. I take out Teo. Some of the Dovins definitely come out. Maybe you can take out one Mox. Some Fibblethrips. And then some of the sweepers. Sweepers aren't great. I'm just gonna board out the sweepers against Grixis. Maybe that's wrong. They could have Thieves after board. I'm gonna try this. Seems okay. I think we just play the island. Turns on our glacial fortresses. Ooh. Wasn't necessarily expecting that. Yeah, unfortunately, Bedevil can also get rid of our Spyglass. We can Prison Realm the Thief, so we pretty much have to do that. We already have one Narset. I guess I'll still top it. Narset's really good. And it's pretty likely that our first one is gonna die at some point. Okay. That's bad. Especially considering we took out our sweepers.
Have present, keep an open mind.
Dreadhorde Invasion is quite good against our deck because we're not really pressuring our opponent's life total at all.
Time together.
And the zombie army is pretty annoying. They found a Sorcerer's Spyglass. I would suspect they named Teferi Time Raveler. But I don't know. Yep, that's gonna be their name.
I have practiced against many, with thoughtfulness before action.
Not looking great this game.
I must train harder. What an interesting creature. Let's see how you work.
Yeah. Not having the sweepers feels pretty bad in a spot like this. Oh, you know what? Sorry. That was just a misplay. For some reason, I meant to use the Mox Opal, although scrying before. So what I should have done with this Mox Opal is I should have just tapped it during my turn, so that I had the 1 mana to treasure map end of turn, because I didn't want to. Yeah, the Amber. Sorry if I said Mox Opal. The Amber. I definitely messed up the sequencing with the Mox Amber. So we can Prison Realm the Thief, I guess. I mean, this was a reasonable draw. I'm just gonna play out the Time Raveler, even though it's named.
I can no longer stand by and
And
watch.
that does turn on our opal. So it's named with the Spyglass, but it still has relevant text. Definitely going to sideboard a bit differently for game 3. I'm just going to actually now I'm going to concede. Alright. So we kind of got that game. Cleansing Nova also can get rid of a Dreadhorde invasion. Probably want some additional removal. Not sure about Spyglass. It feels kind of necessary, but our opponent has Bedevil in their deck as well. Just gonna cut the Fibblethrips, I think. Dovin can stop a thief. We didn't have it that game. Yeah, this looks about right. I think I'm just gonna cut the negate because stroke is better because it counters like the creature Nicol Bolas. Keep this. The highest upside play here is Narset. I'm gonna try for that. Decent chance it gets negated.
I know 88 ways.
Fortunate.
Your prowess.
Did not. That's good. Turn 3 Narset.
I have just the trick for this.
I think I'm gonna take the Prison Realm. Or is it just this Disdainful Stroke? For having a counter is good too. I'm just gonna go with the Realm. Being able to realm this Thief seems pretty great. Keep that on top for sure. Probably taking our Tezzeret. I would guess they're taking the Tezzeret, but who knows? Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so that just trades with our Narset, but Narset's already done a ton of heavy lifting.
Do you really think you can keep up with
I'm gonna draw a card because I think it's just a pretty high likelihood that our Tezzeret's gonna immediately die here. And I'd rather have the card if it dies. I understand there is incentive to try to get 3 artifacts in play. But cards are real valuable. So that's potentially just going to get rid of our Tezzeret. Looks like it's not gonna happen like that. So we want to be able to pressure the Planeswalker. I'm just gonna pitch the island.
My revenge will be paid to witness a mote of my power.
Not a bad draw.
Let's see how you respond.
I guess I can just Prison Realm the Nicol Bolas. That's probably just the right play. Seems good.
Wipe your bloodline from existence.
I guess knowing that's on top, maybe I'm not supposed to Narset. Or maybe I just don't, I don't have to minus it. But yeah, our opponent's just going to concede to that. Alright, well, did not drop a match. As you can see, the deck is super fun to play. I'm still learning. I'm still learning it. Some of the aspects to it. Sweet. Some new cards. And yeah, like, I found myself boarding out Fibblethip more than I thought I would. I know there's been other players who have done a lot more work on the deck, and thanks for watching. I suspect that this is going to be a deck that is going to stick around.